Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Independence Day is on this Thursday, July 4th. We say we love America. We say we will fight to preserve the principles and values that our grandfathers, fathers, sons, daughters, nephews, and friends have fought and died for. Really? Well, folks, the way the left is destroying this great land, we may have to prove it. Good morning, everybody, and happy Independence Day on the 4th of July. Coming up day after tomorrow, here's Kate Smith, and God bless America. We need a real live patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. And a good morning to you on this Tuesday, July 2nd. Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and of course with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires, and brake service, front end alignments, all of this and so much more. Stop in and see them today. Along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Attaboy, Wheels. Appreciate it. And right now, let's go to the weather forecast brought to everybody by K&R Rental. Hello, Roger and the crew. Roger and out over there at 256 South 600 west of Hayburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. You can't miss them. I mean, they've got a big front yard just full of tools and equipment. I'll guarantee you that. Everything you need to finish any kind of a project, construction project, whatever, I urge you to stop in. And if you got questions before you go over there as to what you may need, call them, 678-3122. K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway, absolutely the best. Right now, we're going to hear Gina on the weather.
Another beautiful day as we get closer to our nation's independence, and here's what we can expect for today. Mostly sunny skies, a little bit of a breeze, high of 85. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 54. Tomorrow, we do have some clouds rolling into the area, partly sunny skies, expecting a high of 79. By Wednesday night, 20% chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast with a low of 49. Then for Independence Day itself, mostly sunny skies, milder, only a high of 77. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Wow, you cannot beat that forecast. Thank you very much, Gina. Appreciate it. And the weather, of course, brought to everybody this morning. They get there early in the morning at 7 o'clock. K&R Rental serving you at 256 South 600 west of Hayburn. Number to call, 678-3122. By the way, I want to remind you there will be no sale this week on Thursday, Independence Day, at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Merv May and I talked earlier this morning. He says, hey, they've got a ripping big sale coming up next week on July 11th. Don't forget the sale that works for you. For cattle consignments and sale information for next week on the 11th, call 678-9411. Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Absolutely with the best people serving you. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Don't go away. I want to remind everybody, too, about Daryl's Cleaners. I hope you're all spiff and ready to go for the week of Independence Day. And if you're not, you should have taken your clothes into Daryl's Cleaners to be ready. Absolutely. They do the finest job of anybody. And I can say that absolutely because I've been all over the world, literally, and taken my clothes to a lot of cleaners. Nobody does the job that they do at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. And I urge you to stop in and see them tomorrow. And then they're going to probably be off on Independence Day, but back there again on Friday. God bless them, good folks. Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Zebber. At the Burley Senior Center today, on South Overland, we're having enchiladas and rice and beans and yummy dessert.
Okay.
They're only $5.
And if they call, what number to have a takeout?
208-678. No, 878-5865. Let me start over. 208-878-8646.
There you go. Hey, by the way, Joe, now that I've got you on the phone, you've seen a lot of Independence Days. What does it mean to you, quickly?
Now, say about Independence Day again.
I say you've seen and been living through a lot of Independence Days. What does it mean to you to celebrate Independence Day?
Well, it's when we became an independent nation. I think we've lost the real feeling of it as it used to be compared to what it is now.
I agree with you 100%. My dear friend Joe Taylor, I hope you have a wonderful day. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Caller, I'll be right with you. Stand by. I want to remind everybody about our friends over at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Hello, my goodness sakes. They also get there early in the morning at 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday, to serve you with all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. And when I say all, that's a word that really touches on everything, because they've got everything over there to serve you. Whether it's even filters for your air conditioner, they can and they will help you. 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. 7:30 to 5. They're open Monday through Friday. The best. Over 6 decades serving you at Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. And real quick, don't forget our friends at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Oh, my goodness. What a treat. If you're going someplace on the 4th of July, you ought to stop in there first for breakfast. Oh, they've got all kinds of great new breakfast items. And you're going to love the strawberry vanilla crepes. That's my signature favorite right there. You stop in and you'll really enjoy the food, all the menu choices at Denny's Restaurant. 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Denny's Restaurant, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and they are America's Diner. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, I want to thank you again for that nice little dessert we had right after lunch bunch. That was very nice of you and Deanne, and also of the restaurant.
Well, let me just tell you that it certainly wasn't just us. It was also the great, great people over at Denny's. But don't you dare go thanking me for a dessert after what you and your lovely bride provided for us. Oh, that was lip-smacking good.
Well, we're trying to help you control your weight by feeding you delicious food.
You know, I tell you what I'm doing on my diet. I've lost quite a bit of weight, but I also splurge on occasion. Now, the occasion was that you handed me that rhubarb dessert the other day, and I went home and I thought, well, I can't have supper as we know it, so I'm just going to sit down and have a piece of that rhubarb dessert. The piece was only about 10 inches by 10 inches, and it was a fairly good-sized dinner, so I accepted that as my main meal.
Well,
Are you there?
Yes, it's great that you enjoyed it. Nancy didn't hear you, so I will relay the message to her.
All right. What else can I do for you real quick, Keith? I got a whole bunch of things to get through.
Okay, AOC, alias Congresswoman Cortez, so-called went to the border. I don't know whether she really did or not.
She did.
Because she said these people were drinking out of the toilet. And they had the former director on there for the Border Patrol. And he said, no, the fountain, I guess it's a fountain, but anyway, the water supply for the toilet is the same as it is for the drinking water. And no, they are not drinking out of the toilet.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Going to get rid of these phony people like her.
Well, it's called an election, and the next time the elections are held, I certainly hope, and I have my doubts, that the people in her district in New York will get rid of her. Unfortunately, there's too many Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez personalities, Bill de Blasio personalities back there, and I think we may be stuck with her for a while. I'm going to be talking about that in just a minute. She's a liar, she's a fraud, she's a cheat, she's a scammer. I have nothing good to say about her, and I will not say anything good about her. Keith, God bless you, man, and thank you for all you do. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet you. Thank you. Bye.
All right, sir. Hey, don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Good morning, Nick Greenwell and all the great physical therapists. They know their business oh so well, and they can help you get back to being you. If you're a aching and a painin', I urge you to call the number and make an appointment. Get in there and see them. They can help. 678-1191. That number again, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Make that a must-do today. Call them. They'll help you get back to being you. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I have just a moment, too, I want to talk about the very best of irrigation and people that serve you with your irrigation needs. And I'm talking about Jake and the whole crew over at Rain for Rent. I'm telling you, they are busy, and they're smiling every minute of the day because they just enjoy serving people. They're a Reinke Diamond dealer and Platinum Plus certified pivot techs. Believe me, dedicated. Underline this word, it's really true. Dedicated sales and service staff that really know how to serve you and your irrigation needs. Rain for Rent, and they're located at 134 South, 600 West of Paul. Telephone number to call Jake and the crew, 438-5065. Don't forget, Rain for Rent. Keith brought up a moment ago about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Folks, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to realize that if she's going to go to the border with supposedly other representatives of the Democratic Party, and she's going to be taking a tour of various facilities, there definitely is not going to be anybody drinking out of toilets. When I heard that, it was the most demeaning statement, and she allegedly made this statement about drinking out of toilets. I did hear her say that on a video clip. And then she says that the conditions were filthy and unsanitary, completely contrary to what we've heard, read, and heard said from people that have been there. Now, the truth is they're overwrought with people. There's no doubt about it. And any one of the Border Patrol agents and or hierarchy of government will say, my gosh, we don't know what to do with all these people. They're being overrun. But there is nobody that is forced to drink out of a toilet. Her charges against our Border Patrol are absolutely ludicrous. And she allegedly screamed at Customs and Border Protection agents, in a threatening manner. And she made an explosive claim that women were being held at least one facility or being forced to drink out of toilets. She absolutely went down there and made a complete fool out of herself, which is hard to imagine that she could do a better job than what she has been. And some of her statements and some of her allegations are just absolutely ludicrous. She said that the Border Patrol confiscated her phone and that they were absolutely exposing their inhumane behavior. I'm just going through some of the list of the charges she made. And she said the people were being mistreated down there on the border. All of this absolutely, completely false allegations, and this woman is despicable. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Zeb, Earl. I was kind of thinking about this, and I had to draw a fine line. I was thanking my lucky stars that she's in Congress and not serving drinks at the bar.
Okay, Earl.
That's my best for the day.
Well, I find...
I seen on the news.
Yeah, she is, honestly, I've run out of words and phraseology to describe her. She is disgusting, despicable. She's a liar, a fraud, a charlatan. I don't know what else a person can say about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But the thing that bothers me the most, Earl, and this is not a laughing matter, she has the rest of the Democratic Party by the nose right now and is leading them, I think, into oblivion.
Well, I hope somebody pulls their head out of you-know-where and corrects this matter, Zeb.
I hope so, my dear friend. Thank you so much. I appreciate your call. I got to get in some other commercials, but thank you very, very much.
I'm out of breath as usual, but I just stumbled in here.
All right, well, stumble into a chair and regroup. Have a good day. Thank you, Earl. Appreciate it.
Move some hand lines.
All right, well, all right, buddy. Thank you so much. Up on the mountain, old Earl. Appreciate it. Hey, by the way, Ark Animal Hospital and Dr. Bill and the crew, you know, it goes without saying that they really care about the health of your animals, your pets, whatever. I mean, that's why they're in business, to serve for the better health of your animals. They're located at Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn. And the number to call, you should have this on your refrigerator, 678-1177. 678-1177. Large and small animal clinic ready to serve you. And there's so much you got to be wary about, and watch your animals for their health conditions, etc. They can help. They will help. They have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Call them, 678-1177, Ark Animal Hospital. Wheels, would you please play a good word from the Silver State Stampede?
Follow the crowd to family entertainment at its best. The 2019 Silver State Stampede roars into Elko July 12, 13, and 14 at the Elko County Fairgrounds. Kicking off this fast-paced weekend is the annual Tri-Tip Dinner on Friday, along with mutton busting, Old West bronc riding, PRCA rodeo action, the always popular Ring of Fear, and new this year, mini bull riding. The fun continues on Saturday and Sunday with more PRCA rodeo action, and you can dance the night away with the music of Moonshine Outlaws. Get your advance tickets today at Roy's, J.M. Capriola Company, IFA, the Boot Barn, and the Elko Chamber of Commerce. Don't forget the best in the West is waiting for you at the Silver State Stampede, July 12, 13, and 14. For more information, visit us at silverstatestampede.com. Head to the Elko County Fairgrounds for the one, the only Silver State Stampede, rope and ride on the wild side.
Absolutely. Good morning, and those folks really know how to throw a party, let me tell you. You know, to be a patriot, let's think about this and talk about this a little bit, folks. Independence Day coming up day after tomorrow. To be a patriot, to help keep America great, to preserve values that this country has been founded on, to be proud of this country above any other country, right now we need to refurbish the American spirit. Honestly, I certainly hope that everybody listening out in the audience this morning will be flying your United States of America flag proudly on Thursday, if not before. I hope you remember what was given to you, what was given to all of us through a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and lives from years and years ago right up to the present, to make sure that we have the greatest country in the world. I urge you to be very proud of that red, white, and blue flag when it passes by, whether it's at a parade this Independence Day, or at a rodeo, or any other function in celebration of Independence Day. And I urge you to go thank our military for what they do and what they have done. And I also urge you, when the opportunity arises, caller, stand by just a moment, loudly, very loudly, say the Pledge of Allegiance like my lunch bunchers do. When we say the pledge, everybody means it. And if somebody happens to say that the flag, maybe your flag on your property, offends them, I urge you to be prepared to stand up for that flag, not run and hide. And to sum it all up, I urge this thinking: God bless America. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you doing this morning?
I'm fine, George. Thank you.
On behalf of the Rupert Veterans Memorial, we want to express a very heartfelt thank you, and I hope you enjoy your 4th of July. You do so much, not only for our veterans, for our country, and you keep it out in the forefront, and for that we are blessed.
George, I appreciate that. Just that phrase of what you said to me and about what I do, it makes me feel 10 foot tall and bulletproof. I enjoy all I can do to help refurbish and re-strengthen the values of this country, and I'm urged to keep doing it because of people like you and your wife and others, with what you do with the POW-MIAs and all the other, the veterans. I mean, the list goes on and on. Thank you, but right back at you. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Zeb. You're a very, very big part of our organization and many organizations and all of Idaho, well, all of the United States. What you do, your unrelentless support is just overwhelming.
Well, thank you, George. You kind of give me a lump in my throat, and I'm sometimes very seldom at loss of what to say, but thank you very, very much. You're a dear friend. God bless.
I ain't commenting on that, but God bless you.
George, we think the world of you and Donna. God bless you, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that makes you feel good. You know, I'm not going to weaken on this program whatsoever. Ever, never. On the flag and what this great country has afforded me. You know, I've had kind of some rough times physically over the years. From when I was a little boy and all the surgeries and all the operations and then the accidents and then other problems that have come up and everything, you know. But had I lived in any other country, I would not have been blessed like I have been here with the opportunity to overcome, persevere, and be successful. And to the crybabies out there in the audience, they go, oh, woe is me. The world owes me a favor. The world owes me a bunch of money so I can be successful. Bunk. The world doesn't owe you a doggone dime. Nothing. They don't owe you your health care. They don't owe you anything. get up and pull your boots on and go to work for it. This country absolutely provides all the opportunity if you want to make something of yourself. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, real quick, I got to tell you, there's a whole bunch of rocking and rolling and fun going on over at the Rupert 4th of July celebration for Independence Day with the theme celebrating Independence Day the Rupert way. And today on Tuesday, they've got food booths over there, folks. I mean, if you're a member of Nutrisystems, you better cancel your order. If you're headed for Rupert, they've got a lot of good eating over there. And tonight they're going to have a group called Sounds of Freedom, and then featuring the Chancellors. Oh, yeah. Tomorrow, Wednesday, they've got the Firecracker 500 lawnmower races at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds. Thursday, of course, Parade Day. All of this and a lot more at your Rupert 4th of July celebration. Don't forget, celebrating Independence Day the Rupert way. And some of the great merchants that also want you to come on over and have a good time in Rupert are Magic Valley Carpet at 613 D Street in Rupert for all your flooring needs, carpet, hardwood, vinyl, laminates, everything. Over 35 years of experience. Magic Valley Carpet in Rupert. And Haskett Insurance Service. They're located at 629 Fremont Street in Rupert, and oh my goodness, they are your partner in insurance protection. All you gotta do is just give them a call, and they can help you. Wonderful people at Haskett Insurance Service in Rupert. And last but not least, Snyder Surplus, 116 South, 200 west of Rupert. Oh my goodness, they've got everything at Snyder's. If you can't find it, it isn't to be had. Let me tell you, they got it all at Snyder Surplus. And they wish you a very happy and safe, sane Independence Day 2019. Thank you very much. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning again. You know, when you were coming from Jackpot years ago and you were just starting to come into Twin Falls, there was a great big giant flag flying over Latham Motors there in Twin Falls. And every time I would see that, I get a little misty because that's America.
Absolutely.
And now, this guy is a CEO of Camping World, and they put up a big flag at one of their facilities, and the city is having a fit.
No, I'm going to tell you, though, let me correct you a little bit, Keith. They didn't just put up a big flag at one of their facilities. Camping World has a big flag at every one of their facilities. This flag, by the way, is a 3,200 square foot American flag, and it's on their property. It is not violating anything as far as height violations for the FAA, nothing. And they haven't violated anything except that the city of Statesville, North Carolina, doesn't want the American flag flying. And the gentleman that's the head of Camping World, the CEO, Marcus Lemonis, said that flag is going to stay. It's not coming down under any circumstances. And if the city wants to fine me here or anywhere in the United States, let them have at it, because the flags are not coming down.
Yeah, and the council there, I guess it was the council, said it causes accidents on the freeway.
You know that's as bogus can be. I almost said some other word, but that would not have got me in good graces with the FCC.
You know, that it's just wrong that people protest against the pettiest things. Why don't they go do something? Why don't they go do something for their neighbor or something like that?
Amen. We're living in a world of idiots, and it's about time the idiots got a good rude awakening and a slap in the face, because nobody should take down that flag. And drive up by Nampa. Go to Nampa and look at that flag, another great big flag over their facility. And I salute them. I absolutely salute them, and I also salute the attitude, the flag stays. We're not going to take it down. That's the attitude that should purvey itself.
some people complain, well, yeah, they just do it for advertising purposes. Baloney. The flag is a flag no matter where it's put.
There you go.
It's on Iwo Jima or someplace in Twin Falls or anywhere.
I agree with you. Keith, I got another call, but you're 100% spot on, and that's a good story to bring up about Marcus Lemonis. He's a guy that's got backbone, and that's something that's lacking in this country. He's going to stand up and say, the flag stays. Keith, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Go to jail.
Yes.
If necessary.
Absolutely, my friend. Thank you very much. Appreciate your call.
You bet.
All right, sir. Caller number 2, I'll be right there, I promise. I want to remind everybody about Barry Equipment and Rental. I love talking about these folks because when it comes to the tough jobs, the lifting and the digging and the pushing and the carrying, oh boy, or grading and leveling and laying sod, I'm telling you, they got the tools and the equipment for you over at Barry Equipment and Rental. 3 locations, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, and they got a big sandbox out behind that location, so if you're not sure how to run the equipment, they'll teach you. 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin with Eli and Napa's location. I guarantee all the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators and the Bobcats and everything else, you stop in today. Barry Equipment and Rental. Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
Hello, my friend.
You know, this is the greatest country in the world. Unfortunately, it's becoming the greatest country in the world for everybody that wants to come across the border and get free education, go on welfare because they can't find jobs. And you and I are going to pick up the tab for it.
Yep. And I'm going to tell you right now, on this Independence Day week, Patriotism Week, I love this country. And I don't want to see this country being subverted and changed with a fragmentation of our culture and a absolute declination of our value system by people coming in that couldn't care less about America. I don't want them here. I'm not saying I don't want all of the incoming people here that have gone through the channels legally. I welcome that. But as far as the others, no, I don't want them here.
You know, many years ago, Mary and I applied to go to Australia. And we had to have a trade before they'd even accept us coming in there. Of course, I did have a trade. But what's coming across the border, hell, they can just come in here and cost each taxpayer thousands and thousands of dollars out of their income.
That's right.
Year.
That's right. And it's going to get a lot worse, and somebody has to put the hammer down and say, that's enough. It's got to stop. And I want to see the best for my grandchildren. I want to see the best for their children and future generations. And the best is not to be had if we keep allowing what's happening in this country.
Well, the Democratic Party has caused so much trouble for this country, it's going to take years to overcome the damage they've done.
Well, also include the Republican Party, because they have been a bunch of sad losers that haven't got up off their desk and exercised any activity at all in trying to get things through and trying to make things better. They've been very lazy, if you want to know the truth.
Well, they're getting all the big benefits and the perks and the envelopes under the tables, and what happens to us doesn't matter to them.
I agree. Listen, on this Independence Day week, I urge you and Mary to have a wonderful day, and God bless you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
That's okay. I'm going to take my AK-47 out and fire a few shots.
Okay, Tony, thank you very much. Appreciate it. God bless you.
Bye.
Caller number 2. I'll take your call before I do anything else. You are on the air. Go ahead, please.
Well, thank you, sir.
Hello, my friend.
Hey, if you want to see a beautiful sight in Burley, go down Overland to 27th Street and hang a right, and you can see it from the corner. There is a big Garrison flag flying behind this home, this gorgeous home, and they have a flag out on the south side facing 27th Street.
Yeah.
But on the north side of the house, they got this big Garrison flag, and that is so gorgeous. That guy should have a medal for putting up the flag that he put up. It is gorgeous out there.
I do not care, and I don't mean to minimize what you said because I know it is, but I don't care if it's a great big huge flag flowing in the breeze or if it's one of those little handheld American flags. I don't care. I want people to go out and celebrate Independence Day with an honoring and a posturing, if you will, of our flag on all the lawns, on the front of your garage, your home, whatever the case might be. We should be very proud and very thankful to live in this, the greatest country ever. Is that nationalism? I'm going to say it very succinctly. You're damn right.
Yes, I am very proud to be an American, and I thank God every night for allowing me to live in such a nation. And I also pray every night that all those in government that are trying to keep this nation a godly nation to please help them, and all those who are trying to take this nation down and do evil, to expose them for all to see.
You know, Doug, it really hurts me to think that we have people that have been elected as officials representing people in America that are so un-American and so anti our value system. I just wonder how in the world they ever got to those appointments in the first place. They don't belong there.
They don't. They got there by buying votes, lying to their constituents that they're going to do this and this and this and get there, and all they are there for is to improve their self-worth.
And I'm going to say this, and I'm not ever going to back up on what I say on this program. I'm going to say this: when we start putting trash, and that's what I think she is, rebel-rousing trash like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar and the others, we start putting that kind of person in office to represent people of America, we are in a lot of trouble.
We are. She no more represents America and the people that have elected her. She no more represents them than Pelosi does San Francisco.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Pelosi could care less what happens in San Francisco.
I agree.
The only thing Nancy Pelosi cares about is padding her pocket.
Yep, and power. And power is the key right there. Staying in her position as a figurehead of power. And they just absolutely, that is their diet. That's their regimen every day. Power, power, power. It's got to change.
Okay. Anyway, I got to run. I got a customer. Everybody, do what you can for the seniors. Go support them over on the fair.
All right, buddy.
And also, they have my mother's recipe for cinnamon rolls.
I know they are good because I'll never forget the day she brought a great big tray of those and gave them to me when I was on a remote broadcast. And then she also quoted a joke that day that about got me kicked off the air.
Anyway, God bless.
All right, thank you very much. Hey, caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. I want to remind everybody, homemade meals and housekeeping are provided for the folks at Greystone Crossing, independent senior living in Heyburn. I'm telling you, these folks really, really care. I'm talking about Matt and Kelly Wiggins. I know that when they put this all together in their mind, service to you was the utmost. And, of course, they'll even take you to your appointments, get your hair done, or see your doctor. That's the great thing about Greystone Crossing. It's your home with a lot of friends, and you can really associate and assimilate and just enjoy every day at Greystone Crossing, independent senior living in Heyburn. The number to call, find out more, take a tour, 650-4979. I'll repeat that number, 650-4979. They're at, of course, 21st Street, just up the road from Walmart. You can't miss it. Call today for an appointment, 650-4979. And that's, of course, Greystone Crossing, independent senior living in Heyburn. Caller, I'll take your call before I do the weather forecast. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. I just want to tell you about two of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen. Number one was when the bus pulled into Great Lakes Naval Base back in Illinois, when my son was back there going to school. as we pulled in, there was the biggest flag I had ever seen to that point, and it just brought tears to my eyes and a lump in my throat to know that my son was serving under that flag. How much I appreciate that. The second most beautiful sight was when we went back to Palmyra, New York, to watch the pageant back there. There was a flag so large being held by I don't know how many people that covered the entire hillside.
Oh, my.
Was so beautiful. It just made me grateful to be an American. And whenever I hear the Pledge of Allegiance, it just fills me with gratitude that I live here in this free country.
May I just tell you this?
Pray that we can do all we can to keep it free.
Absolutely. Let me just say something to you. I wish, wherever you're calling from, I was in the same room with you right now. I'd like to give you a great big hug and tell you how much I appreciate you and say God bless you. Thank you for what you said this morning.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. She brought tears to my eyes. Oh, what a nice lady to call and give us that story. Thank you. I've got to get a weather forecast on here real quick, and then we'll take some more of your calls. Don't forget, our weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Absolutely, they're located right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and they can and they will help you with your hearing health. Now, there's a lot of things outside that could damage your hearing, including right now this week, a lot of loud noises and fireworks and everything, and motorized vehicles, everything. Hey, take care of your hearing. And if you've noticed a diminishment in your hearing, get a hold of them for a hearing screening today. 312-0957. 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology. Here's Gina with the weather.
Another beautiful day as we get closer to our nation's independence, and here's what we can expect for today. Mostly sunny skies, a little bit of a breeze, high of 85. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 54. Tomorrow, we do have some clouds rolling into the area, partly sunny skies, expecting a high of 79. By Wednesday night, 20% chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast with a low of 49. Then for Independence Day itself, mostly sunny skies, milder, only a high of 77. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And to Gina, I wish you a very happy Independence Day. Thank you very much for all you do. And our weather brought to you this hour by Mount Harrison Audiology, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. Number to call for a hearing screening appointment. Do it. Don't put it off. 312-0957. You know, there's so many ways that people celebrate the 4th of July, Independence Day, and, of course, being from Wisconsin, I can think back to my childhood with all the things we did and how we celebrated. But, boy, when that flag went down that street at our hometown parade, wow. That was pretty impressive. Great, big, huge flag leading our parade processional. Those are memories I'll never forget. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning again. I just wanted to share something with you. In 2005, we built a brand new building at my auto dealership on East Main Street. And when we did, we put up a giant flagpole facing it. It's right out by the street, and the largest flag that we could fly without, being obnoxious. In other words, the higher up you go, the bigger the flag. But anyway, the thing I want to tell about is so important. I had two boys that had scouting when they were younger, and they respected the flag to no end. And every morning, when my dealership opened, that was the first thing of business, was to go put the flag up. And when the flag came down at sunset or when we closed up, it was carefully folded, just like you're supposed to fold it, just like the military does.
Right.
And it was stored away and treated with the greatest respect. I love those days, and I have never seen since we sold that facility. I've never seen a flag since then.
You know, I really appreciate your comments about the flag, Keith, and your feelings and emotions. And like I said a few moments ago, I urge everybody, you don't have to wait till the morning of Independence Day on Thursday. Get out there and put flags. Put all the flags you want to on your property. I mean, I went by a house not too many days ago that was already out there. They must have had 50 flags out in their front yard. God bless them. God bless them for showing their patriotism. Keith, thank you for that story. I appreciate it.
You're sure welcome.
All right, sir. God bless you. You know what? And that goes in accordance with this story. You talk about making me fighting mad. Colin Kaepernick, you know, the former San Francisco 49ers quarterback that sat during our national anthem, wouldn't honor our flag, etc. Well, he got drummed out of football, which is a good thing. Hope he never comes back. I don't know where this kid, this bushy-haired, know-nothing punk kid, has the power, but Nike was coming out with a Betsy Ross-themed 4th of July Independence Day sneaker, and on the back of the shoes it showed the original flag that she had made for our great nation, and Colin Kaepernick complained, as if I really care about his complaints, he complained, and Nike is going to pull the shoes. You've got to be kidding me. What kind of power does this kid have? And really, who cares about him or his opinion? I don't. So Nike is dropping the production of these shoes because they don't want to hurt his feelings. Are you kidding me? Well, hats off and kudos go to Arizona Governor Doug Ducey. He announced today that he's ordering the Arizona Commerce Authority to withdraw incentives for Nike building a manufacturing plant in Arizona. He said if they're going to treat the flag with that much disrespect and listen to some harebrain like Colin Kaepernick, they're not going to get their incentives for a plant to manufacture shoes in Arizona. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. They're backing up. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call to come in, I also want to remind you that you still have time. You still have time today and tomorrow. If you're going someplace on Independence Day or maybe for Independence Day weekend, you'd better get into any one of the 7 Magic Valley Les Schwab tire centers. Oh, they have got all the tires. Oh, they've got all the sizes and the tread designs, and they've got all the tires for your car, your pickups, your SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers, camp trailers, you name it. Be safe. And really get in there and check it out at any one of the 7 locations, along with the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, I just wanted, while we have open phones, so to speak, if you don't mind me talking about the cap and trade bill in Oregon.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. Well, let me tell you what it'll do to the Oregon trucking industry. It'll cost them $4,000 a truck, per truck, a year for fuel.
Mm-hmm.
$4,000. This morning I called Arlo G. Lott Trucking, and I called one of the dispatchers. I says, how many trucks you got running? He says, well, 200 plus. And I says, can you imagine if you had that kind of leadership in Idaho where they're going to raise the taxes on fuel and impose that kind of $4,000 per truck per year? This is what these people in Oregon think that they're going to do. And what they're going to do in Oregon, can you imagine? You've been to Oregon a zillion times. Tell me where there's any big heavy smokestacks kicking out CO2 that are polluting the air.
Yeah, the problem with Oregon with Governor Kate Brown is the same as with Washington with Inslee, total reject as far as a politician is concerned, and they've bitten into the bug or the apple of the cap and trade and the green new energy program, and all they're going to do is just absolutely cripple commerce in both of their states.
Well, there was protesters, loggers, truckers, and everybody there, and they said that the trucks were so long that they had 10 miles of trucks on the interstate trying to get off to go protest at the Capitol. And they said, and nobody cares. Kate Brown basically said, take a hike, boys.
Well, Randy, hang on just a second, buddy. You can tell by looking at your wristwatch that I wished you'd have called in earlier because we could have really made a good conversation about this. I'm out of time, but I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to demand that you call me back tomorrow and we talk about this in the first hour. And don't wait till the last couple of minutes.
I'm so, on this Donald J. Trump economy, I'm so running so hot that I sometimes don't get to stop and listen, and if I do, I just try to get in a good point.
All right, well, you did. Excellent point. Thank you, Randy. God bless you, and have a great Independence Day. Thank you very much. I've got to run to the news, and we'll be back in about 7 minutes. Oh, good morning. Not a bad forecast at all for the next couple of days for our Independence Day week, Patriotism Week, right here on Zeb at the Ranch. We want to say a big shout out and thank you to our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best in tires. You stop in and see them today, along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Oh my goodness, Wheels, are you ready? Let's have a good word for Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is landing ahead, always at your disposal. Western Way Services.
I'll tell you what, they are always at your disposal. That is the truth. And all you have to do to call and get on the route service is 734-6969. Along with that, don't forget they've got the porta potties for all your picnics and your company parties and family reunions. And they've got the dumpsters in various sizes to kind of clean out the basement or the garage or whatever. Oh my goodness. Call today. Western Way Services, 734-6969. Okay, I also want to remind you about our show tomorrow morning at 10:06, the Old Fishing Hole, with the Sportsman's Warehouse folks, Josh Anderson, our fishing guru, and of course Sportsman's Warehouse with all your sporting goods right there at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Tomorrow, we don't know where Josh is going to be fishing tomorrow morning, but it's going to be fun, it's going to be interesting. The Old Fishing Hole, brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse. Don't you miss it. Hey, our good buddy Anthony, if you're looking for a camper shell for your pickup, looking for a certain style and color, well, let me tell you something. Save on shells with Anthony at 1827 Overland in Burley. You've seen it. You've been by. Stop in and talk to him today. Number to call, 312-1525. I'm telling you that this young man knows everything about camper shells, so please check it out today. Quality, service, absolutely the best. 1827 Overland and Burley, 312-1525. Anthony at Save on Shells. Real quick also on this Independence Day week, if you will, I want to remind you about somebody that is absolutely just so important over in the Burley-Rupert area, and they serve so many people, and they're just recognized as being so kind, so gentle, and always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. And we're talking about Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, with Joel Heward, his family, and his staff serving you. Number to call, 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636 for Hanson Mortuary. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. This morning, I've got an opportunity to visit with a very, very good friend to this program and to you. He has been a representative for the state of Idaho and is a great representative for the state of Idaho, and really proves his worth to us every year when he's up at the legislative session, and he's been so amenable to helping us with various issues to get it on the radio so everybody can understand what's going on. I say a good morning to Representative Fred Wood. Sir, how are you?
I'm doing great this morning, Zev. How are you?
Well, I'll tell you what, just peachy fine, and it looks like we're going to have great weather for our Independence Day week, if you will, and I certainly hope that you have something fun to go to and be a part of this week.
I do, and we're going to do a little fishing, and we're going to have some 4th of July celebration and fireworks and good eating and all that kind of stuff. So going to be with family and just a great time.
All right. Fred, I'm going to ask you if you could speak up a little bit, and Wheels, if you could turn him up a little bit. I'd appreciate that. You are on the panel, if you will, to discuss salmon issues, etc. Governor Brad Little appointed you to that panel. Can you give us any insight as to what the problem is, how it possibly might be solved, or what's going on?
Well, I'll take a minute to do that. First of all, I only have one interim committee this year, back from 3 or 4 that I've had in the past 2 or 3 years, so I was looking for a little bit of a summer vacation. Turns out the Governor's Salmon Work Group is not a legislative interim committee, and the governor never appointed me to that. The governor has 18 people on that committee, one of which is a member of the House of Representatives and another from the Senate, and so Speaker Bedke appointed me.
Oh.
So for better or for worse, blame him, not the governor on that one. No, I'm happy to serve, and because I've been involved in the salmon issue since 1996, when Governor Batt appointed me to the Fish and Game Commission. And what the governor wants to find out is 2 or 3 things. First of all, what is the latest state of affairs with respect to salmon recovery in the state of Idaho? At what point are we now in the 4-H's? What part are we now in? How has the science come along with this? And then eventually, what recommendations is the committee going to bring forward to the governor in terms of, do we proceed along the same track? What other things should we try to be doing to recover salmon in the state of Idaho? So that's a real high overview. We had our first meeting last Friday. Our next meeting is in Salmon, Idaho, all day on July the 30th and half day, I think, on July the 31st. We've got a field trip and then a half-a-day field trip, a whole-day meeting, and not a lot happened, to be perfectly honest with you. With the first meeting, we were principally just kind of getting organized. Did hear a little bit from Fish and Game about the run and what's happening with the runs lately, etc. But that's about it so far, Zeb.
I guess my question would be, and I think a lot of people in the audience would say the same thing as far as the question is concerned. What created a problem with our salmon populations, and did it just sneak up on us overnight, or has it been a long-term thing that should have been addressed a long time ago?
Well, when it comes to salmon, you have to go back, and particularly salmon in the Pacific Basin, you have to go back more than 100 years, because right from the start, we started overfishing that population from year one. Secondly, we were, the commercial fishery of building the fish traps where they couldn't escape, and there was no escapement up rivers for reproduction or anything like that. I mean, we had, before we ever even started with the dam issue, by some estimates, we had decreased the salmon population in the Pacific Basin by 90% from day one when we started. At least those are rough figures, and those are very, that would be in the ballpark of what we did to them. That's way before we ever even started on some of the dams that are in contention in the last 50 years. Secondly, a lot of things have changed. Predation is still human predation is still the number one problem in the oceans today. We've got such technology, and those commercial fishing fleets are using the very latest technology. The river has changed. There's a lot of things that have changed, and it's a very complex issue with a ton of moving parts, Zeb. And that's what the governor wants to know is okay, what is the state of facts at this point in time, and where should we go from here?
I guess...
And you're not going to do that. We're not going to get there. We're not going to get there in a year.
Yeah.
It's going to take some time to advise the governor so that when the governor goes to these meetings, he's got the latest facts representing the state of Idaho, not Alaska or British Columbia or Washington or Oregon or California. They have different issues with their salmon populations than we do.
Fred, you and I have been friends for a long time, and so feel free to kind of slap me on the knuckles if you wish. But the way I look at the so-called salmon problem or salmon recovery issues is that it seems like all sources from the Northwest seem to be pointing their finger at us in Idaho as if we were the ones that are exacerbating the problem. But it's not that way as far as I'm concerned. You've got issues with the Columbia River. You've got issues with wildlife like the seals. You've got issues with commercial fishing. Why all of a sudden is it always, it seems to me, pointing the finger back at Idaho?
Well... Okay, so if you remember correctly, Zeb, the last time I was out at your place and I was on the radio, before we got started, we were talking, and I was telling you about the state of politics in the United States today and what happens on every single issue. And the salmon issue is a great example of this. Remember what I said, you take any issue, and we have such an industry in the United States now built up around advocacy. There are tens of thousands of people and organizations that make their living on an annual basis from advocacy. So the very first thing that happens with any issue is that you monetize it, okay? So you can make money off of it. And the salmon issue was one of the leading things that started this whole thing. And secondly, then you weaponize it. So you want to make sure that anybody who is opposed to your particular advocacy becomes an enemy. So when we start talking about the salmon issue, every single one of your listeners needs to keep that in mind. The next issue with respect to Idaho and why everybody looks at Idaho, there's two reasons. One is that we have a lot Idaho is the bedroom community, if you will, for a lot of salmon runs. The largest tributary of the Columbia River is the Snake River. And historically, it provided a lot of places for salmon to reproduce, good clean water, etc. But the second thing that they look to Idaho for is they look at all of the water that comes out of Idaho, and they want that water to solve downstream issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to hear Fred Wood always say the following, much to the chagrin of a lot of people who advocate for salmon, and that is, within the state of Idaho, this is not a fish issue. This is a water issue.
Absolutely.
And we're going to approach that, and I know the governor agrees with this. This is a water issue for the state of Idaho. This is not a fish issue. They're not going to get any more of Idaho's water.
Fred, we have a caller with a question. I'm going to put them on the air quickly. Go ahead, caller, please.
Yeah, good morning. Well, it seems to me, I've been along the West Coast, and I've seen the sea lions there clear into the Bonneville Dam, just gobbling up salmon. And then I also understand that the Indian tribes broke their treaty in the sense that they're catching salmon and selling them to the public, when the treaty, I think, said that it was just for their own use. And I think you mentioned about the sophistication. I'm wondering if we're really patrolling the fishing off the West Coast there. I have a feeling that 12-mile limit's been violated, so they're coming in and fishing, taking a lot of salmon that way. So there's three things that need to be addressed before we think about taking out dams, which would be the last resort, but Simpson seems to think that's the high priority for some reason.
Let's have Representative Fred Wood. Caller, I've got limited time, and I'm going to have Fred discuss that quickly about your points that you just brought up. Please bear with me. We've got limited time in this segment. Go ahead, Fred, please.
You bet. Deb, with respect to predation, predation is huge. Stellar sea lions and California sea lions and stellar sea lions are much, much larger. They're huge. It's estimated now that pinnipeds, which are sea lions and seals, are consuming 40% of the adult salmon returns in some runs between the mouth of the Columbia River and Bonneville Dam, which is the lowest dam down on the Columbia River. And Fish and Game, we saw a presentation that I believe that it is in the fall Chinook salmon run, that for every 10,000 adult salmon that return to Bonneville Dam, the stellar sea lions are consuming 40%, or 4,000 of every 10,000 fish adults. They never even get to cross. So you're losing 40% of a run right there, which is incredible. Predation is huge all along the entire system, and there's still more predation in the ocean than there is on the river. I could talk about this for hours, but let's go on to whatever now, Zeb. And with respect to the catch and what the tribes are doing, that's another issue I'll be prepared to talk about at a later point in time. Go ahead.
All right, sir. We have another caller with a question, and I'm down to 4 minutes. Go ahead, caller, quickly, please.
Well, I read about this the other day, Fred, and I was going to call you, but Zeb beat me to it. Okay. How do you feel about the panel that was assembled by Governor Little? I know two of the people, Stacy Satterley from the Idaho Grain Producers, and you. The rest of them, I don't know that I recognize him. Is it a fair and objective panel, Is it weighing less to the environmental? I hope the hell it's not. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, please, Fred.
I think that's yet to be determined. That's why I say, there were opening statements by everybody, but everybody was very careful. Nobody wanted to say where they really were, etc. And that's normal because you can marginalize yourself way too much if you don't want to become a serious player. So he raises an excellent point, and we'll be on the lookout for that. But I think we've got enough decent people on that committee. I know most of them. I don't know several of them, however. So time will tell, but we'll be on the lookout for that.
Fred, I'm down to a few minutes left, but I just want to say a statement on this salmon issue and see if you agree or disagree. I don't care if it's predators, the sea lions. I don't care if it's the tribal influence of taking and, in my opinion, wasting a lot of the fish. I don't care what the problems are, commercial fishing, whatever. These are issues that you can't just point your finger at one source, the state of Idaho I'm talking about, and say that they've got to rectify it at the risk of losing water for what we need in the state of Idaho for our agricultural production. This is my concern, and I certainly hope that you're not put back into a corner in these meetings to where these other people are pointing their finger at you.
Zeb, on this issue, they're not going to paint me in any corner. You know me well enough to know that I'll damn well stand up for the state of Idaho, and I think pretty well that the speaker is in the exact same court, and I know the governor is. The other thing is, Zeb, I'll say this right now before we get off, but we're going to have meetings probably close to every month, maybe a little bit more than that. I'll be happy to come on and talk about this issue after every meeting if that's what you and your
Absolutely.
Because this is important enough to the state of Idaho that we need to watch this. And I know that the leadership in state government, Governor Little, Speaker Bedke, and Pro Tem Hill, are all watching this extremely closely, as is Fred Wood, your representative. So this is one of those things where we don't back up.
That's what I like about you, Fred, and you doggone right I want you to come back on after those meetings and let us know what's going on. Representative Fred Wood, a man that I consider a friend of this program and the state of Idaho. Thank you, sir, and I hope you have a wonderful summer and a great Independence Day on Thursday.
Same to you, Zeb, and God bless all of you and all of your listeners.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Representative Fred Wood, and this is an issue with the salmon that we're absolutely going to stay right on top of. Rest assured that Fred and I have talked about this many, many times, and after those meetings that he was in reference to, we're going to have him back on the air every time there's a meeting complete so he can bring us up to date. I want to remind you there's a lot of fun things going on over in Rupert for their great big 4th of July celebration and, of course, for their great observance of Independence Day. And Senator Kelly Anthon's over there, and he says, come on over and enjoy the fun. Oh, my goodness, everything from great, great food and fireworks, horse racing, lawnmower races, and so much more. Outstanding music, a lot of fun with everybody up on the square. Senator Kelly Anthon says, come on over to Rupert for Independence Day. Dixon Oil, 602 South 2nd in Rupert. They say the same thing. They've been in business since 1951 with the best of gas, oil, and propane. Daryl and the crew over at Dixon Oil wish you and your family a very safe, sane Independence Day, 4th of July. And last but not least, Haruza Insurance at 723 South 3rd Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness, you can get a quote on your commercial and business, auto, home, life, and health insurance today. You get a hold of them. David Haruza and his staff, outstanding people serving you at Haruza Insurance in Rupert. And all of them invite you over to Rupert for the Independence Day, the Rupert way. And what's going on? Let's go down through the list here again today. Tonight at 6 p.m., they're going to have the Sounds of Freedom as entertainment in the park. And then after they're finished, the Chancellors, they are outstanding. outstanding country music band. Tomorrow at 6 p.m., don't forget they're going to have the Firecracker 500 lawnmower races. Whoa, start your engines. Look out, it's going to get wild. And then, of course, Thursday at 11 o'clock, the huge Rupert Parade in celebration of Independence Day, the Rupert Way, with the Grand Marshal, Dean and Linda Cameron. A lot of fun going on over in Rupert all this week. You be a part of it. We're going to have our next guest on the program momentarily, but I also want to remind you about some other folks that are working hard for the beautification and the comfortization of your home. Who am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. Holy cow! Jeff and the rest of the crew, they are so impressive with their knowledge and their ability to help you. They're having a summer clearance on mattresses and recliners. I told you the other day they've got an outstanding selection of recliners. You gotta get in and try one on that fits you. Oh, comfortable. And don't forget they're having a closeout on some carpets. You better get in there and let them serve you at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Oh, my goodness sakes. Tomorrow on the program, we've got a lot of outstanding people. And again, I want to mention we're going to have that segment at 10:06 called The Old Fishing Hole, sponsored by Sportsman's Warehouse. Don't forget that. By the way, I know some other people that are involved in selling fun. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Let's Ride. Oh, get your motor running. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. They've got all the side-by-sides, four-wheelers, watercraft, everything over at Let's Ride. How they got everything in that showroom is beyond me. Stop over and take a look. And don't forget they've got all the accessories and a super service department to keep you running. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24, like I said, between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold at Let's Ride. There's a gentleman that's been on my program a couple of times in the past, and I absolutely appreciate his friendship on this program and also his being very open and forthright. And that, of course, is the founder and chairman of Black Americans for a Better Future. And I say a good morning and welcome to Independence Day week on Zeb at the Ranch. Raynard Jackson, how are you?
Hey, my friend, I thought you didn't love me anymore. I haven't been on your show in it seemed like 3 or 4 decades.
Well, we'll rectify that and have you on more often. Raynard, as we look at this Independence Day, 4th of July celebration for all the values and all the heritage and the history of our great country, you know, I'm just going to tell you that I'm more concerned this year, 2019, than ever in all of my 71 years that America is slipping and starting to fragment. How would you respond to that?
Oh, I agree 100% with you, Zeb, simply because I don't even know what the definition of an American is anymore, because I got a column that's coming out later on today, and Zeb, you need to send me your email address so I can get it to you. But there was a time when remember the 13 colonies, Zeb, when they formed their independence from Great Britain on this July 4th, 1776. They all spoke English. The U.S. dollar was a currency. They all gave up a little bit of themselves in order to form a more perfect union. Now, I went to a shop the other day, a fast food place, Zeb, ordered my food through the drive-thru, and the person didn't understand English.
Oh, my goodness.
That's crazy. How are you in this country and you don't even speak our language, and yet you call yourself an American? You got to have that commonality that makes you part of a larger group, Zeb. And right now, I would be hard-pressed to define what it is, what it even means to be an American anymore.
You know, Raynard, I feel very comfortable talking to you about various issues, and I'm very blunt, and I'll never back up. I found the comments that were made during the presidential Democratic debate last week by Beto O'Rourke and also Cory Booker, it was pandering as far as I'm concerned when they started answering their questions in Spanish. Your thoughts?
100%. I agree with you, number one. Number two, their Spanish is horrible on top of that. And the thing about it, Zeb, is neither of these guys have any history of involvement in the Hispanic community anyway, so they're only doing it because they're running for president. So it's so cynical and so inauthentic. And so if you're trying to get voters from the Hispanic community, if they don't understand your campaign platform in English, what the heck have we come to when we have to pander to people in another language in order to get them supported? Something's wrong with that picture, Zab. It really is.
Well, what about the Democratic Party in general, Raynard? To me, it's kind of reminding me of those little kaleidoscope things that we look through with little kids, and there were all the fracturing of the different colors and everything. And the fracturing is the key word there. That's what I think the Democratic Party's trying to do to America.
Yeah, here's what's interesting, Zeb, and of course, me being the only genius you have on your show, believe me, it's so true, 100%. I'm a genius, believe me, and I know about being a genius, trust me. Melania loves me being a genius, believe me. Here's the interesting thing about Kamala Harris and that whole Joe Biden situation. We knew everything about Joe Biden when Barack Obama put him on the vice presidential ticket and 8 years as vice president. So the question I ask people, Zeb, is when did Joe Biden become a racist? Because Kamala Harris was very close to the Obama administration and Joe Biden. So that was nothing new revealed at that debate that we didn't know when Obama put him on the ticket. So according to the liberals now, after that the second debate there, Obama put a racist as his vice president for 8 years, and nobody said a daggone word about it. Think about it.
Well, you know, I want to give you a little relating of a story. I'll make it very brief about what happened to me in 2007. I came out on my radio program absolutely against Barack Obama. It had nothing to do with any race or anything. I just was absolutely adamantly opposed to his politics. At the same time, if you'll think about it, I was advocating that Condoleezza Rice throw her hat in the ring to become possibly the first female president, but yet I was called a racist by the state Democratic Party because I was against Barack Obama. That's how absolutely insidious it was leading into the Obama administration.
Well, but we all know that you are not going to buckle under and bow down and back away from your belief. Conservatives have got to stop running away from this issue of race. Let someone call you a racist. If you know it's not true, why would you cave in? Stand up and fight, grow a pair, and push it back down a liberal's whiny throat. That's what a conservative would do. Stand up and fight. But too many of our conservatives, especially here in D.C., Zeb, they are so caught up in this politically correct bullcrap that they bow down. Now, I don't know if you all have heard out there in the great state of Idaho what Nike just did.
Yes.
These tennis shoes.
Yes, and I'd like you to relate that story to my audience, please. Go ahead.
I could be called the Colin Kaepernick. Really?
You know, what power, we talked about that in the first hour, Raynard. We got a little delay here, I apologize, on the phone. But what power, underline that word power, does a has-been washed-up quarterback in the NFL, Colin Kaepernick, that decided to hate his country more than he loved football, what power does he have over Nike to make them make decisions?
Because Nike is afraid of having one person on Twitter send out a negative tweet. That's what that's about. I mean, I will never, ever buy another Nike product, and I have not bought any in years. This is even before the whole Kaepernick situation. But I am not supporting a corporation, Zeb, to the extent that I can, that goes against some of the values I hold true. And I hope more Americans don't sit up here and support these guys. And I'm not even advocating going through a media cat bashing campaign. I'm saying I'm keeping my money in my wallet, and I will not buy anything affiliated with Nike, period.
You know, Raynard, people don't want to talk about race relations in this country. Personally, I think it's a little ambiguous to even say race relations. We should all get along. Our Creator created us as human beings. I couldn't care less about the tone or texture of someone's skin, be they Asian, black, Mexican, brown, whatever the case might be. But why in the world are we at a point right now, leading up to the 2020 elections, where race relations seem to be at a focal point?
Zeb, I'm telling you, and I've said this on your show before, and I'll say it to anyone who will listen. I've told the White House, I've told the Trump campaign, race will be the dominant issue of this presidential campaign, and conservatives are totally ill-prepared, Zeb, to deal with the issue of race. Now, I know you're coming from a good space. I know you have a heart of gold, but we have to be able to compete with this liberal bullcrap and this liberal obsession with race. We have to be able to push back against it, Zeb, on substance, but ignoring the issue of race like a lot of these conservatives in D.C. are doing is not the solution. And so let me give you a classic example of what happened over the weekend. Donald Trump Jr. sent out a tweet questioning whether Kamala Harris is really black, and it turned into a big, brouhaha in the media. And one of Junior's friends called me. I don't know Don Jr. personally. We have a mutual friend. And I said, let Junior know this. The reason he's getting vilified as a racist is not so much that he is indeed a racist, which I don't think he is, but Junior has no credibility in the black community. When do you ever see him with a group of black folks, whether it's going to a restaurant, whether it's in business? You don't. Now, he may have a lot of good black friends, but it's not known publicly. So because of that, Zed, he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt, and that's something Junior has got to understand.
You know, when we talk about relationships and we talk about the state of trouble, if you will, in the country of America today, we have to talk about police. We have to talk about police accountability. And you and I have touched on this subject in previous broadcasts. But don't you agree that in general, now, I know that there's bad apples out there, but in general, the police are being vilified to the point today to where they can't do anything right in the public eye?
Okay, I'm going to give you a nuanced answer, and you tell me if you agree with me, Zeb. The perception among conservatives relative to the black community. So this is how a black views it, and I tend to agree with it. Conservatives tend to default on siding with the police on police engagement with the black community. The black community seems to default on racism every time there's an encounter with the police. And I think both sides are equally wrong. The answer is somewhere in the middle. So conservatives have got to stop siding with the police on every issue before they know what the facts are. And black folks have got to stop invoking race into every police encounter, because a lot of it has to do with this person actually did break a law.
You know, now, I'm totally on your side. I agree with you 1,000 times over, Raynard, but how do we get to that point where common sense, looking at the issue and defining right and wrong on an issue before being so volatile and blowing up?
But yeah, this is going to sound so trite and so basic. Most Americans nowadays, Zeb, don't have in my case, I'm black. A lot of blacks don't have a lot of personal white friends where they go out to dinner together, they go shooting basketball together, playing golf. A lot of candidates, before I sign on to a campaign, Zeb, I'll ask you a very simple question. I'll ask these white potential candidates, when was the last time you had a black over to your house for dinner? And Zeb, I'm amazed, and in most cases, they cannot remember.
Really?
That in America in 2019, Zeb, that is integrated an as America is, how any black or white cannot say definitively they engage in a personal way with someone of a different race, background, creed, or color. That's crazy. It's embarrassing.
But, Raynor, don't you think, though, that part of that problem is being exacerbated by the race baiters in this country, white and or black, that want to create more turmoil because it puts money in their pocket?
Oh, no question, Jeff. That's why listen, Jeff, I've been involved in the conservative movement and the Republican Party for 30 years. As you can well imagine, when I go to party events at the highest levels that I operate on, I'm normally the only black or one of few blacks in the circle I travel in. So and this may sound strange to you, Zeb, I have to make a conscious effort to spend time in the black community, because if I don't, most of my existence is in an all-white world, from when I was in corporate America through my politics. So in order to stay in tune with the black community, I make conscious efforts to be engaged with certain organizations, certain activities, just so I keep the pulse of my community, because if not, I would be insulated by an all-white world. Does that make sense to you?
It does, but I guess maybe I'm being naive. I went to school back in the Midwest where I was born and raised. I went to college back in the Midwest. I was around, and I don't like breaking people down according to race, but I was around all different races. They were over at our fraternity house for parties, and we went out together. We went to Minnesota Twins baseball games together. I don't look at the race problem in this country like other people do. I look at it as a human problem. We're not able to get along with each other.
But no, I agree with you on that, Jeff. But my point being, for example, if you look at the House and Senate leadership on the Republican side, and I know them all very well, they rarely ever have to engage with, say, black entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. That's a foreign thing to them. And so how can you be a leader in a party, Jeb, and you're making legislative decisions, and you don't have even any diversity of thought and experience at the table as you're formulating legislation that will have an impact, say, on small business? And blacks are a big percentage of the small business community, but yet on the conservative side, our leaders have very little, if any, interaction with black entrepreneurs to get their feedback on proposed legislation. Something that practical, Jeff, is the issue I have.
Absolutely, I agree with you. You know, why don't you and I take over this whole mess and tell Trump that we've got the problem solved?
Oh, Jeff, I'm telling you, we're kind of making light of it, but Jeff, if we have more guys like you and I engaging like you and I are doing, this country will be a better place, because guess what? You and I can get together for lunch or drinks any day of the week, have a great time. Issue of race would never even be an issue, because guess what? We both are good people.
You know, let me ask you about the Elizabeth Warrens and others of her ilk that seem to be really pushing hard for reparations, whether it's reparations for the black community and families, or whether it's reparations for now. She brings up the gay and lesbian community. What about this? I mean, I didn't do anything. My father, my grandfather, nobody did anything to anybody, but yet we're asked now to reach into our billfolds possibly and pay out millions, possibly trillions in reparations. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, number one, it doesn't have a snowball's chance hell in passing, number one. Number two, you're exactly right. You had nothing to do with it. So, and let's face it, Zeb, I've often, when I've spoken in front of black audiences, I've posed this hypothetical question. Let's assume, Zeb, that I could snap my finger magically and make every white person disappear off the face of the globe. Where would black folks get their food from? Because we don't farm a whole lot. Where would we get our cars from? We don't manufacture any cars. Where would we get our clothes from? We don't make clothes. So my point is, white folks are not our problem. Racism is not our problem. How is it that my parents and grandparents, Zeb, are living a better quality of life than I am? I got 2 degrees. My parents, they bought houses and cars and lived are living to be a good old age. Here we got guys like us with 2 and 3 degrees, dying at 50 and still living in their mother's basement. Something's wrong with that picture.
Absolutely.
And my parents grew up doing, the civil rights movement and all that stuff, but yet they lived a better quality of life. That was a family unit, a family structure. Kids knew not to sass an adult. Now we raising kids where they don't respect anybody, and yet we got 2 and 3 degrees. So we have to take back control of that family unit, and reparations is not going to stop one little 14, 15-year-old black girl from getting pregnant. Reparations is not going to stop another black from selling drugs to his own community. So I think weak people take strong positions on weak issues.
Let me ask you one final opinion question, if you would, Raynard. When you looked at and watched the 2 evenings of the Democratic possible nominees for president, the general thought was socialism. The general thought was freebies, give everybody this, take more in taxes from the rich. What were your concepts? Was there anybody on any podium that stood out to you that may become or might become a good leader for this country?
Yeah, the guy I keep telling everyone to look out for, Zeb, is Congressman Tim Ryan from Ohio. He's a centrist Democrat from Ohio. He's soft-spoken. He's not a sexy type person, but on substance, I would not have to hold my nose too long to support some of the issues that he is advocating. And so keep your eye out for Congressman Tim Ryan. That's the one I think could be a sleeper in the Democratic Party, but also I think could be very competitive by him being out of the industrial Midwest in a state like Ohio. With what President Trump has done with the economy as far as the industrial Midwest, all the good things he's done, Tim Ryan could be very competitive in that space, so look out for him.
Okay, well, let's round out that question by saying Tim Ryan or anyone on the Democratic ticket, as you look ahead now with the campaign for President Trump's reelection in full gear, can they beat Donald Trump?
If you had asked me before the second debate, I would have said Joe Biden was the strongest contender because of his experience, not necessarily because of his politics, because of his experience. After the shellacking he got against Kamala Harris and Joe Biden has caved into this liberal onslaught, backing away from the Hyde Amendment, and he's backing away from his 40-year political life. I don't see anyone on the Democratic side beating Trump now that Biden is really not a factor in my view anymore. So if the president puts together, Zeb, a more effective communications team, especially to speak directly to the black community, this president can win re-election and get 15-20% of the black vote to boot.
Ladies and gentlemen, this man is my friend. I hope he comes back soon on this program. Founder and chairman of Black Americans for a Better Future, Raynard Jackson. I hope that you and your family have a happy and blessed Independence Day. Thank you, my friend, and come back soon.
Thank you. Look forward to that.
All right, sir. Thank you much. Outstanding individual that I really enjoy visiting with. He's going to tell it like it is. Raynard Jackson, thank you for being on the program this morning. I am late. And what I'm going to do, Wheels, quickly, can I have a good word for the Silver State Stampede?
Thunder of hooves, the thrill of an 8-second ride. All the fun of PRCA rodeo action is at your fingertips July 12, 13, and 14 when the 2019 Silver State Stampede makes its way to the Elko County Fairgrounds. This PRCA-sanctioned rodeo brings you the thrill of pro riders, mini bull riders, Old West bronc riding, mutton busting, and the always popular Ring of Fear. Family Day on Sunday and the dancing to the music of Moonshine Outlaws. Show your support on Saturday night with Tough Enough to Wear Pink. Gates open on Friday and Saturday at 4 p.m. and on Sunday gates open at 12 noon. Advance tickets on sale now at JM Capriolas, Roy's, IFA, the Boot Barn, and the Elko Chamber of Commerce office. Family entertainment at its very best. The 2019 Silver State Stampede, open ride on the wild side.
Oh, Oh, yeah, a lot of fun going on in Elko in a couple of days. It's all going to be there. Hey, right now we've got to go to the weather forecast, and the weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Hello, Leiden and the crew over there. Hey, they've been providing accounting services to the Minicash area for well over 50 years. They are the best at what they do. Tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, business consulting, retirement planning, all of this and so much more. With offices in Burley and Rupert, let them help you. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Another beautiful day as we get closer to our nation's independence, and here's what we can expect for today. Mostly sunny skies, a little bit of a breeze, high of 85. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 54. Tomorrow, we do have some clouds rolling into the area, partly sunny skies, expecting a high of 79. By Wednesday night, 20% chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast with a low of 49. Then for Independence Day itself, mostly sunny skies, milder, only a high of 77. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
And thank you very much, Gina. We appreciate that. And weather sounds like it's going to be phenomenal. Brought to you this hour by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. As I said, they've been providing accounting services to the Minicash area for over 50 years. Let them serve you, your family, and your business. Offices in Burley and Rupert, Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. I certainly hope that Dr. History is on his way over here. I thought he said next week he was going to be gone, but we're going to have to check that out. And hopefully he'll be here with us in the studio in just a few minutes. While I am worrying and waiting, I want to remind you, too, about our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, yes, the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and a lot more to make sure that you are protected. They're dedicated and very responsive to your needs. I urge you to call the number and make an appointment today. 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Wow. I believe that Dr. History is supposed to be on the air this morning, and during the break, I'm going to give him a call on the old cell phone to make sure that he's on the way. Want to remind you that coming up at 10:30 this morning, we're going to have the producer of the film called Open Borders, Mark Saunders, is going to be on our program. That's coming up at 10:30. And again, hopefully, Dr. History at 10:06. We are celebrating patriotism and patriots of our great country this week for Independence Day. And right now I'm going to turn it back over to Wheels. He's got some special patriotic music to lead us into the 10 o'clock news. Oh, here we go. The Great One has marched into the studio under the pomp and circumstance of all of his helpers throwing and rolling out the red carpet before him, and he'll be here momentarily. Dr. History. We're, of course, Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and, of course, all 7 locations serving you with the best and safest of tires. Stop in and see them today. Also, our advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Wheels, a good word for the Silver State Stampede.
Nevada's oldest rodeo. Silver State Stampede roars into the Elko County Fairgrounds July 12, 13, and 14. This PRCA-sanctioned rodeo brings you the thrill of pro rodeo riders going head-to-head in one of the world's toughest sports, rodeo. Action kicks off on Friday with a delicious tri-tip dinner for just $10. Old West bronc riding, the Calcutta, mutton busting, PRCA rodeo action, and the always popular Ring of Fear. Dance the night away to the music of the Moonshine Outlaws. And on Saturday, show your support with Tough Enough to Wear Pink. And on Sunday, round up the gang for the Family Day at the fairgrounds for even more rodeo action. Get your advance tickets today at Roy's, the J.M. Capriola Company, IFA, the Boot Barn, and the Elko Chamber Office. The best family entertainment this side of the Rio Grande, the Silver State Stampede. For more information, visit them at silverstatestampede.com.
Wheels, what is that noise on the air? Please help me. That sounds like an electronic key going on and off. Do you have any idea what that is?
I'm not hearing anything.
We're getting it occasionally in my headset, so you might want to monitor that real close and see what it might be. I would appreciate it. Pardon me?
I was just saying will do.
All right, buddy, thanks. Don't forget Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley. Curtis and Lorena and the rest of the staff at 678-6997. That's the hotline number for all your electronics needs. Oh, my goodness, all the televisions. Let's talk TV right now. You get in there. You deserve to sit down in your comfy chair after work and just enjoy good TV, good quality TV, and they've got them from Samsung, Sony, and Toshiba. And don't forget they've got complete sound systems, home theater systems, car stereos and speakers, video surveillance cameras. Oh, my goodness. All there at Patterson's, 421 East Main in Burley. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6, and they're waiting to serve you at Patterson's in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Well, right now, ladies and gentlemen, the man of the hour, and he is known all over the world. Why, people in China and people in Czechoslovakia, people in Brazil, when he goes into their towns, they roll out the red carpet and white flowers are strewn across the street. Here he is, Dr. History.
I'm sure glad you didn't exaggerate, Zeb.
Oh, maybe,
so
maybe
a little.
A touch.
Yes. So, 4th of July this week.
No, it's Independence Day.
Independence Day.
Yeah.
Independence Day. So, we have a tradition every 4th of July, Independence Day, we go to Rupert, watch the parade, and in the square, they have the best authentic Mexican food you can find.
Oh, yeah.
Just good old
They've got all kinds of food over there.
Oh, yeah. One thing I love about the parade over there is when the American flag comes by, everybody stands, takes their hats off, and puts their hand over their heart. It's just,
That's
just
where it should be.
A good feeling.
Have you ever been in the parade?
Yes, I've been in parades over the years.
I have too, and I've, of course, with my business, have been in a lot of parades, and they've put me in the convertibles and everything. Well, I had the most unique experience, blessed experience, with our veterans riding on their float in the Rupert Parade a couple of years ago, and it was just absolutely something I'll never forget.
Yep. I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
What are we going to talk about?
We are going to talk about the most dangerous street in America.
We're talking about Blue Lakes in Twin Falls.
No, not quite.
Oh.
So you'll get this, Zeb. The Lincoln County War, was exceptionally violent, and a lot of that violence occurred in the small town of Lincoln, New Mexico.
Right.
And murder was pretty much a fact of life there long before Billy the Kid and the regulators collided with the followers of L.G. Murphy, and we may talk a little bit more about that.
How did they get the the name regulators?
I'm not sure. If we have time, I'll touch on the Lincoln County War a little bit.
All right.
But in fact, the entire history of Lincoln, New Mexico, in the late 19th century was full of tragic accidents, a lot of violence, questionable examples of frontier justice. And I've got an interesting story about that. And acts of revenge. And during the decade of the 1870s alone, more than 50 people were killed along a 1-mile stretch of dusty road that curved through Lincoln, a fact that President Rutherford
B. Hayes.
Say that twice. President Rutherford.
Would you just call him President Hayes?
President Hayes, in 1878, he declared it the most dangerous street in America.
What was the president's name again?
Hayes. So, the following are just a few examples of the violence that plagued Lincoln in those years. Some of those who died were innocent victims. Some were terrible, notorious criminals. But a lot of them were just typical people of the western frontier.
Mm-hmm.
They were tough, independent people whose lives just kind of reflected the brutal reality of the conditions where they lived. I mean, it was a tough life back then, and a lot of innocent people just happened to sometimes be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
Now, for example, on September 2nd, 1876, Josiah Doc Skurlock accidentally killed his friend, Mike Harkins, in the carpenter shop behind the Murphy store. Skurlock was showing off his new, quote, self-cocking pistol when it accidentally discharged. The bullet struck Harkins in his left chest, pierced his heart, which tends to be fatal. He was dead instantly.
Yeah.
Just an accident. Killed his best friend.
He was just showing a new gun.
Yeah, showing him this new cool gun that he
I
had,
see.
and boom, his friend was dead.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 years later, February 18th, 1878, Captain George Purington sent a few soldiers from Fort Stanton to Lincoln in hopes of keeping the peace. Then, on February 21st, he sent a dispatch rider to Lincoln with a message for the detachment. The rider, unaware that a sentry was posted at the west end of town, he attempted to gallop past the courthouse. The sentry, a Private Gates, failed to recognize his fellow trooper, and actually both of them were members of the same company, the 9th U.S. Cavalry. Gates fired just once. Private Edward Brooks, a 29-year-old native of Kentucky, was dead as he fell from the saddle.
Oh, wait a minute. He didn't recognize somebody from his own troop?
Yeah, he came galloping through.
Into Lincoln, New Mexico.
Yeah, and he shot him.
Wow.
Anyway, so here we go.
I'm never driving by your house.
Okay, another one. October 21st, 1874. Lyon Filipowski.
Lyon
is his first name. Filipowski was having a few...
You can't say Rutherford, but you got clearly through Filipowski? What's the matter with you?
I'm being careful. So he was having a few drinks in the billiard room at the L.G. Murphy and Company store. Now, Filipowski was married to a gal by the name of Teresa Padilla, and they had...
You're getting better all the time.
Oh, I've got a lot of names.
Filipowski and Padilla.
Yeah, I've got a lot of
This is getting
names.
really heavy.
So they had an 8-year-old daughter named Lolita. He was also a deputy sheriff of Lincoln County.
Uh-huh.
Now, when it came time for the bartender, William Burns, to close up, Filipowski was angry. He wasn't happy. He wasn't ready to go home.
I see.
Burns insisted that he leave.
Uh-huh.
Filipowski warned Burns that he would, quote, see him outside.
Oh, boy.
Sure enough, as Burns left, Filipowski approached and reached for his gun. Burns was ready, and Filipowski collapsed, mortally wounded, onto the muddy street. He died the next morning.
I see.
Another death.
Yeah.
Here we go, another one.
Poor Miss Padilla.
Yes, left alone.
Why, she started dating Rutherford.
She might have. So, October 10th, 1875, former Sheriff Alexander H., they called him Ham for some reason, Mills, he confronted a guy by the name of Gregorio Valenzuela.
You're doing great.
Thank you. Along the street in Lincoln. Valenzuela and Mills had been neighbors a few years back, so they'd known each other for several years. Turns out Mills owed Valenzuela some money, but was either unable or unwilling to pay. They argued, and Valenzuela called Mills a, quote, darned gringo.
You're real close on the verbiage there.
Mills pulled out a gun and shot Valenzuela, who was a husband and a father, killed him dead. He was convicted of fifth-degree murder, and I've never heard of that, but he obtained a pardon from the governor.
Now, Valenzuela also had a brother that pitched for the Dodgers.
That's right.
Fernando.
Yes. Yeah, he never got killed. Another guy, William Wilson.
Now you get an easy one.
It's not over. So William Wilson once bragged that he had done time in Sing Sing prison. He drifted west to Lincoln, and on August 1st, 1875, he murdered a guy by the name of Robert Casey near what was the Wortley Hotel.
In Lincoln.
Wilson claimed that Casey owed him $8 in back wages.
$8?
$8. So he shot him. Well, he was arrested, tried for murder, and sentenced to death by hanging. Now, this was kind of a momentous occasion. This was the first legal hanging in Lincoln County. And Sheriff Baca was anxious to get it right. He, this is his first time. He wants to make sure that the hanging goes well, okay? On the appointed morning, December 10th, 1875, Wilson was brought to the gallows under a guard. The sentence was read out loud as the hangman prepared Wilson for the, quote, long drop. They called it the long drop.
The long drop.
Then the trap was sprung. Unfortunately, the fall failed to snap Wilson's neck. Okay, now get a picture of this, Zeb. His body kind of danced at the end of the rope for several minutes, but eventually he stopped struggling. Now, thinking him dead, Sheriff Baca cut the rope. The crowd was invited to come up close and view the remains. Well, it seems a local woman realized that Wilson was still breathing. He wasn't dead. Now, not one to leave a job half finished, Sheriff Baca had William Wilson hoisted back up on the gallows and hanged for a second and mercifully last time.
I've never heard of anything like that.
Well, I told a story a few years back about Blackjack Ketchum, how they kind of goofed that one up because they had the rope too long and it snapped his neck off. Snapped his head off when he hit the bottom.
Yeah.
He was pretty much gone.
Okay.
Now, another one. Okay. George Washington, a former...
And all of this took place on the street in Lincoln?
Yeah, this is all in Lincoln County.
Wow.
Yeah. So George Washington, obviously not president, a former employee of a guy named A.A. McSween, was trying to shoot a stray dog.
Yeah.
In June of 1879 at his home near the ruins of the McSween house.
Okay.
Somehow, a bullet intended for the stray hit Washington's own wife. Her name was Louisa Sanchez, and their infant child, killing them both instantly.
You're kidding.
Now, this is where it gets a little interesting. The circumstances were a little bit, very highly questionable. But there was no witnesses. So his word was what they took initially. Well, later when Washington attempted to elope with a teenage girl, suspicions were aroused. Washington was caught, returned to Lincoln, and late one night he was taken from the jail and lynched.
No.
So he probably was guilty. I mean, it just too many ifs about that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go, another one.
You just loaded with bright stories.
Well, these are, this is the most dangerous street in the country.
Wow.
So, December 1871, 48-year-old Avery M. Clenny stopped by Pete Bishop's Saloon in Lincoln. Okay, so it's Bishop's Saloon. Clenny owned a store in Hondo, which was a town not too far away, and he was in town on business. Well, he went into the bar and he talked with Bishop for a little while, but Bishop had to go to a storeroom to go get something. In the meantime, two younger men, a guy by the name of George Van Sickle and Calvin Dodson, came into the saloon. Now, we really don't know why, but when Bishop returned, he found the two young guys, Van Sickle and Dodson, just beating the heck out of this Clenny guy that was just in there just having a drink.
Yeah.
Well, Bishop, the owner of the saloon, retrieved a pistol that he kept behind the bar, and he chased Dodson and Van Sickle into the street, and near the Montano store, shooting at both men. Van Sickle survived. Dodson did not. So, again, another day in the Old West, Now, here's another one.
Kind of makes you wonder what this guy that was traveling on business said, did, or maybe nothing to cause
to cause these guys to want to beat up on him.
Yeah.
So maybe they just were ornery. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, there's some brothers called the Horrell brothers, and they were kind of a notorious group of Texas outlaws. One brother by the name of Ben was kind of carousing in Lincoln with some of his friends when he was killed in a confrontation with Constable Juan Martinez on December 1st, 1873. Now, his brothers, the surviving brothers, they weren't too happy about their loss, about their brother, so for about 3 weeks. And then on the evening of December 20th, they rode into Lincoln. They were going to get revenge. Now, they heard some music coming from Chapman's Saloon. They surrounded the building, and I don't know how many there were.
This is the same saloon you were talking about?
No, this is a different one.
Oh.
The other one was Pete Bishop's Saloon. This is one called Chapman's Saloon.
I see. see.
So they surrounded the building, and again, I don't know if there are 3, 4, 5 of them, brothers. They started firing through the doors and the windows. The music was for a wedding dance, and the building was crowded with men, women, and children.
Oh, no.
4 Lincoln men died that night, including the father of the bride. 2 women and a boy were wounded. Not satisfied with that, the Harrell brothers killed at least 8 more people on their way back to Texas.
What was the reason?
Well, because the sheriff had killed their brother.
And they were just vindictive against these innocent people?
I guess. They just decided to take it out on the people in Lincoln.
You know what I've learned over all these stories?
What's that?
Don't go to Lincoln.
Don't go to Lincoln. Now, Lincoln is most famous, of course, for its association with Billy the Kid, Pat Garrett, L.G. Murphy, and the other notable men in the Lincoln County War. But the town's legacy of violence extends a lot well beyond that.
Where was the law?
You know, I think they tried, but...
Not hard.
Well, there was a lot going on. But the town's legacy of violence, it was
they
there.
Have Barney Fife as the marshal or what?
Yeah, but virtually every step one takes, if you take a stroll down the sidewalks of Lincoln's main town, it's connected with another fatal accident or incident, and it has definitely earned the presidential distinction of the most dangerous street in America.
What's it like today?
I don't know, but it's said that it is a half mile from one end of Lincoln to the other end. And on just this street, this 1 mile stretch, 49 men and 1 woman were killed in approximately a 10-year period of the Lincoln County War and afterwards. And at about the halfway point, right about in the middle, in the heart of this, you'd call it killing field, is where most of the shooting occurred, right almost halfway into town.
Holy man.
So another one on the night of July 19th, 1878, is what is known as, quote, the big killing and, quote, the McSween fight. At least 5 men were killed when the Murphy-Dolan forces surrounded the McSween gang and burned them out, attempting to escape out the back door of the burning house. 5 men were killed. Only 1 survived, had severe wounds, but he was able to crawl off.
Why have I heard that name McSween before?
Because of the Lincoln County War.
Lincoln County War, yeah.
Now, virtually next door to the McSween house is the Tunstall store. And you've heard that name.
Yes.
And that's where an earlier ambush by the regulators resulted in the death of Sheriff Brady, his deputy, George Hindman. Now, across the street, hoeing onions in his backyard.
Just hoeing onions?
Yeah.
Don't hoe your garden.
Across the street, Squire Wilson is hit by a stray bullet and falls forward as it passes through his lower posterior part of his body.
You got hit in the butt.
Well, I was trying to be a little delicate about that.
You couldn't say Rutherford.
So poor old Squire Wilson was just hoeing onions, and he got shot in the hind end.
And that killed him?
Oh, no, it was just a flesh wound. Really just a flesh wound. So, anyway, this story comes out of True West magazine. There's 2 guys, a guy by the name of Tim Roberts, who's deputy director for the New Mexico Historic Sites. He put together some of this. And another guy by the name of Scott Smith also studied this for like 30 years, and he's another one.
What I learned from all these different happenings in Lincoln, New Mexico, is that they were not all bar-related. I mean, one was in a hardware store and whatever.
Yeah, or at a wedding.
So
these guys were at a wedding.
2 things. You didn't want to go to Lincoln.
No.
To do any business.
Yeah.
And number 2, you didn't want to go to Lincoln if you wanted to be involved in any of the gang warfare.
And you didn't want to hoe your onions.
Leave your garden alone. Let the weeds grow.
Yeah. I think we've got a couple of minutes, don't we, Zeb?
They got 2. 2 exactly.
Well, okay, we won't go into this. I was going to talk a little bit about the Lincoln County War. Well, let me just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, it was an Old West conflict between the rival factions. It actually began in 1878. It dragged on until 1881, and of course it was famous because of the participation of Billy the Kid, and of course Sheriff William Brady, and actually cattle rancher John Chisholm, Alexander McSween, James Dolan, Lawrence Murphy, and the conflict arose between the 2 factions over the control of dry goods and the cattle industry in the county.
Was the movie with John Wayne Chisholm, Was that the kind of the catalyst out of the real history to name? They've used a lot of the same concepts.
Yes. In fact, John Wayne Chisholm was in 1970.
Right.
And there was another one called The Young Guns in 1988.
Yeah.
And then there was a novel, The Kid, in 2016. Also, so there's a number of Hollywood
depictions of it,
and books that have been written about that.
Yeah.
So,
wow, anyway, that was interesting.
The most dangerous street in the country.
Now, what was the president's name again?
R. Hayes.
Well done.
R.B. Hayes.
Well done. Dr. History, you have done it again. Stay with us. Don't leave. I got to talk to you for a minute. But I want to remind everybody, too, Dr. History is on every Tuesday at 10:06, and he is heard all over the world. I want to remind you, too, about Dino Septic Service. For some reason, this spot is really applicable to what we just finished. Dino Septic Service. Septic tanks pumped in, liquid waste removal, sewer and sink drain lines clean. They know, they got a good sense of humor over there. And they know they do the job that you and I don't want to do. Absolutely, I urge you to call Dino Septic Service, and the number's 436-6526 or 678-1638. Fast, fair, friendly service. They've been here to help us, and they pull in the yard with that big truck that says, "Smells cargo on the way." Dino Septic Service. And they've expanded their business to better serve more people in the Magic Valley. You get a hold of them today. The best. Dino's Septic Service. Now, we're going to take a little break and turn it back over to Wheels at our main studio. And then at 10:30 or a little bit past that, we're going to have our next guest by the name of Mark Saunders come on the program. He is a film producer with the movie Open Borders, and I think you'll find that very interesting. Right now, Wheels, it's all yours.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Thank you. You know, Matt and Kelly Wiggins at Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living on Alfresco Road in Heyburn, they're no strangers to the needs that we have as we age. And, you know, apart from a healthy diet and a clean, safe home, they know the importance of community, friendship, conversation, and of course, like I said, friends that you can depend on. That's why with Matt with a career history as a social and home health services, and Kelly a career administrator from a large family locally, they know, and they want to serve you at Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living. It's located at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn, and I really urge you to stop by, visit, and check out the 12-bedroom home and all the parking for guests and the great food, everything. Deanne and I are going to stop in and say the Mini Pearl howdy next week, and we're going to visit with them and tell you more about Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living. Number to call, 650-4979. Right now, let's go to the phone line. And I really have been looking forward to having this gentleman come on my program this morning and talk about a film that he has produced called Open Borders. And we're very proud to have the director for this movie, and it's Mark Saunders. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Zeb. Good to be with you.
Well, okay, you and I, we share a lot of commonality as far as what my likes are. I've really enjoyed the film industry. I used to help co-produce a television show called Cowboy Country in this area for quite a few years. And anything relating to film and the production of film documentaries, etc., I'm really interested in. Tell me about Open Borders. What's the concept and the why did you produce this movie?
Sure. So, Open Borders is a cautionary tale of open borders in the futuristic United States. So, it is a warning. It is actually a dystopian thriller. So, we take the people and we put them, about 10 years into the future, and let's just say things have changed. And so, the reason I did this is primarily to bring awareness to the issues of immigration and the borders. and also some race.
When you say all that, futuristic America, what is, and this is your opinion as far as futuristic America as to what we may be or may become, how did you know what avenue or what road to go on as far as saying what this is going to be in the future?
Well, very good. I think I had a pretty good guide. I watched a lot of Bill O'Reilly when he was on Fox, and he would talk about sort of the enemies of the United States and how they were chipping away at this, that, and the other, the Constitution and different things, and it just made me begin to think, well, what if this really happened? What would America look like? What if Chuck Schumer's dream came true? What would America look like? And so I began to see it in my mind. So then I formulated characters and in a land and out of my imagination, and that's what the movie became.
Mark, I commend you for doing this, and once you got into this film, once you got into the production, was this something that the public sees what the camera wants them to see? Did you try to really expand the lens of that camera to let the public know that we're in trouble if we don't do something about immigration?
Yeah, it's not a pretty world that that my characters are set into, and so what you want to do with your main character is create identification. So his story becomes your story and my story. So that's the main thing you want. You hope to do that. He's likable, he's believable, and that you can suspend people's disbelief, and for an hour and a half they can go into the future and they can say, wow, is this really something we want? I mean, maybe it will be this bad. Maybe it will be worse. Do we really want an authoritarian government? So I think and then people can backtrack and say, well, maybe my ideas, maybe my globalist ideas of, open borders and we're all, let everybody in the country and it would just be fantastic. Maybe I'm wrong. And so maybe I need to reassess that and see what the ramifications. And so, numbers don't lie. So we did a ton of research and statistics, and most Americans aren't aware of really what's going on.
That's really true, and so that leads me up to the next question, and maybe I'm putting the cart before the horse here. Where can people see this movie, and how is it going to be put out in front of the public? Give us the sources and locations.
Yes, great question. Okay, openbordersmovie.com, openbordersmovie.com. Go to that website, and at the website you can do everything. You can watch the trailer. You can watch the movie right now. You can watch the trailer, 1 minute and 22 seconds of it, and you can say, hey, does this look like something I'd like to get? Also the synopsis, also some things about the cast, and also the creators of the film, and also how to order it. So you can order, you can get DVD copies if you like. We have those. We also have digital copies available through Vimeo on demand and also on Amazon.com.
Mark, when you were filming this, and I say this with a little bit of knowledge because when you have a concept of what you want to put on, whether it's a TV show or whether it's a movie, etc., you kind of have an A, B, C, D approach as to we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that, and then we're going to do this. How many times did you really have to change the relevancy of your story because things were changing in your own mind that you thought might be better for the public?
Yeah, I mean, I really had the concept. We had it pretty well locked in. I would say the main thing we really changed was the movie was initially called Scragland, and Scragland is the futuristic name of the United States, and it's an acronym that stands for Single Community Representing All Globalists. So it was really just globalist, because obviously the two philosophies here that are really in contention are globalism versus nationalism, and which one do you like, which one do you prefer, and which one are you going to support? So obviously in Scragland we got taken over by a bunch of globalists, and they and they became authoritarian and are squashing this remnant of people. So but for marketing purposes, he said, you know what, when you'd say, we have this movie called Scragland, people would say, what? And, so we'd have to explain it because it was something we made up. So we said, maybe if one of the initial titles, I always write several titles, you're always getting inspiration. And it was like, one of them was Open Borders. And I said, that's a great title, man. That's marketable. That's how we could brand it, and we could get it out there. It's a hot topic. It is the number one, immigration is the number one issue right now, and it will continue to be for the next 2 years until Congress, hopefully, we can get a Republican House, and then we can get some new laws, because I don't know what we're doing right now is just not a whole lot. Taking a vacation, I guess.
Well, Mark, your film is not the first one that you've produced. Tell us about your other achievements and other efforts in the film industry.
Yeah, it's kind of unique. I mean, it's a weird journey. I mean, I got a film degree, in college. I love film, and I got involved with my father doing real estate. So for the last 30 years, I've been a real estate investor. But when I was doing films, I did a bunch of music videos. I did a bunch of commercials and things like that. I had a production company. And so that was good. That was good. I had a great time and everything. But I got into real estate. But it really helped me. I mean, you were talking about some things earlier, and I think you were talking about systems and structures and organization. And these are in perseverance. And these are all things that are necessary in the real estate world. You have to, I am at least. And so it really helped us. But my father passed in 2017, so it gave me a moment to kind of reassess where I was and what I wanted to do and what was important. And I'm really passionate about film, so I said, you know what? In 2018, I'm going to make a film. And so and I had started dabbling in 2016. I had worked on a couple films. One was a sexual trafficking film, remarkably, kind of similar to this issue, a social conscious issue. And we made people aware and studied it and found out some interesting facts. And my director of that film, the director, Trent Duncan, was the DP of this film. So we kind of just reversed roles, and he did a fantastic job. He's a great guy, and so that's kind of how I got here.
Mark, let me ask you this. When you were producing this film, did you use footage or have to create your own footage of the actual problems, like the immigrants, illegal aliens coming across our borders, or problems of congestion of people at our border security points? Did you create all this or use film footage that was already available?
Yeah. That is a great question. And I think in the entire movie, because I'm not a big proponent, because I look at my film as art. I consider myself, and so it should be all of us. It should be everything we have. We have in the movie, I think it's maybe 5 seconds of a sunrise, and we got that from free footage. The rest of it is all of us, everything, the audio, the video, everything you see, we created. In the movie, so but I want to you're talking about the transition, like from now until we're in 10 years.
Right.
What I did, because we have a budget, is we didn't show all that. We talk about this happened and socialists were elected and they got rid of the Constitution and blah blah blah. We talk about that, but we just set our characters into the future, and they're just struggling. If I told you a different synopsis, it would be a man and his family are fighting for freedom and survival in the futuristic United States against their globalist enemies. So that's pretty much more of a colorful thing than a cautionary tale, a description of it. So that helped us get it more on a dramatic narrative story type story where we're not. We're not showing the hordes. It's already happened. Hordes coming in from around the world. It's already happened.
Yeah.
And now, we're hanging out with kind of like Mad Max. little bit like that film. It was one of our inspirations.
You know, Mark, let me ask you this, and I'm not even quite sure how to phrase this, so bear with me, but when you were actually producing and filming this movie, did it increase your fears personally as to what really is happening and very well could happen in the future? I mean, did it make you more aware and even more afraid of the problem?
Well, I don't really subscribe too much to fear as opposed to faith, and I don't worry, but I kind of work, and I want to do something to help people make aware. It is when you see the numbers and you see what's happening, you realize things aren't sustainable.
Yeah.
In the direction that it's going. And so you have to be aware of that. I just got a letter today from Dr. James Dobson, and he's a man I would believe and trust.
Mm-hmm.
And he sent a letter, and he just got back from the border. And it's horrific. It's just, what he's describing. And we have to do something.
Absolutely.
And if our officials are not going to address the issue, we need to get new elected officials. That's what our country's based on. It's based on the democracy, representation. So let's get them out of there if they're not going to perform and do what the people of America want. We want security. We want security on the borders and safety, and I believe that's at least 70% of Americans believe in that strongly.
I cannot wait to see this, and I'm not saying that just to be on this radio program. I really want to go see this. OpenBordersMovie.com, is that correct?
That's us. That is us, OpenBordersMovie.com. You can check it out there, and if you like it, you can. I think the digital copies are you can get one for $7.99. If you want to get a DVD, I think they're $14.99. So it's reasonable. We'll get it out to you, and you can hopefully enjoy it and. It's just something different.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I want to tell you I praise you for what you're doing, and I absolutely want to thank you for coming on my program and discussing it, and I'm going to keep plugging it for my guests, my audience, and thank you for taking the time to come on my show this morning.
Well, Zeb, you bet. It's certainly an honor, and I thank you and say hello to all the listeners in Idaho and the surrounding states, and it's really just a privilege to be able to share with you and them this morning.
Well, God bless you on future endeavors. Is there anything else in the works for the future, another film that you've already kind of considered?
That's a good question. We're working on some stuff. We've got some different concepts, and we're trying to now take that concept into. So a concept would be like maybe a sentence or two. And then we're trying to take that into a treatment, which would be like maybe 2 or 3 pages. And then if we can get the treatment right, then you can go and you can do a script, start heading that direction. So yeah, we got some good ideas. I think that are you have to be excited about it because like I tell my guys, hey, you're going to be living with this for 2 years, so you have to be, you have to believe in this so much because you're going to be, whatever you do in this world, if you do anything, you're going to be attacked. There's going to be somebody who doesn't like you, doesn't like what you're doing. So you got to believe in what you're doing and feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. God put me on this earth to make this movie or do whatever, do this job. And that's your purpose, and that's why we're here. Right?
I can hear the passion in your voice, and I've got a lot of respect for what you're doing. Mark Saunders, thank you so much. God's blessings, and best of luck with this movie, Open Borders. Thank you.
Thank you, Zeb. God bless you too, brother.
All right, sir. Thank you. I really am glad I had this gentleman on the air this morning, and I'm not just giving lip service to this. I can't wait to go see this movie, OpenBordersMovie.com, and the producer, Mark Saunders. And anybody that wants more information on this film, you can get a hold of me, and I'll give you all the particulars. Good guy, and very well worth watching. Thank you very much. Holy Holy moly, I've got to get a weather forecast on here, and then I'll take a couple of calls as we celebrate Tuesday, July 2nd. Our weather brought to you this hour by Scarro's Meats. Hello, Don Scarrow and the whole crew over at 331 North Road, Jerome. You can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com, and check out all the delicious meats. Oh, my goodness. You've got company a-coming, or you've got a great big company picnic or a reunion or whatever. They've got all the marinated pork ribs, the tri-tips. They've got all the different bacons, and they got the bratwurst. Oh, have they got bratwurst. They are delicious. Scarro's Meats, 324-7657. And we'll have more in just a minute right after the weather with Gina.
Another beautiful day as we get closer to our nation's independence, and here's what we can expect for today. Mostly sunny skies, a little bit of a breeze, high of 85. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 54. Tomorrow, we do have some clouds rolling into the area, partly sunny skies, expecting a high of 79. By Wednesday night, 20% chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast with a low of 49. Then for Independence Day itself, mostly sunny skies, milder, only a high of 77. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you very much. And the weather brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. That telephone number, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Delicious. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You may not agree with me on what I'm about to say, but you know me, I open my big mouth and put my Tony Llama right in the middle of it most of the time. But for me, it is very difficult right now to hope that the United States women's soccer team beats England today. Now, a lot of people might say, well, what's the matter with you? Why don't you want the USA girls to win? Well, after the despicable attitude by some of our female athletes towards our country and against our president and his administration, I got to admit that I'm lumping Megan Papino and some others as spoiled brats that do not understand or comprehend the value of this great country, America. They are representing us at the World Cup of Soccer. They've got on the uniforms that say United States of America. And to go overseas or to go to any event and demean and denigrate our president and our flag and not stand up or sing our national anthem, to me, that is not worthy of hoping and wishing that they win. Excuse me. As a matter of fact, I feel the opposite. After reading some of the stories and hearing some of the statements, some that were laced with profanity against our president and, quite frankly, our country, I am not in favor of the United States women's soccer team winning another game. If you're going to represent this country, you're going to represent this country. You can have your personal thoughts, but you don't have to lay them out in front of the world to help heap ashes of misery back upon us. Keep your thoughts to yourself. But to blatantly go to the news media and condemn America, condemn President Trump, and make a mockery out of, well, if he invites us, if we win, we're not going to show up at his White House. That, to me, is nothing more than disgusting. And it's the image of a loser. So for those of you that are soccer fans out there, for those of you that are United States women's soccer team fans, I'm not. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
You know, the depth of stupidity of our people in places of notoriety. Here we have a soccer team that doesn't understand anything at all about how free market capitalism works, and understand what gives them the opportunity. They don't even care at all.
Yep.
And it's like they do it on purpose because they can get away with it. They get away with it. They know in their heart and soul that if it wasn't for free market capitalism and the hard-working, industrious people of this country, and the fact that Donald Trump has turned this economy around, they wouldn't even be able to... I mean, how did they get there? Somebody paid the way. They didn't pay their own. They're traveling all over the world, wherever the hell they are, and they're taking advantage of it. I wish the hell I was in Europe, running around, screwing around. Wouldn't that be fun?
All I'm going to say is that when you're going to represent a country and you're going to put on the uniform that signifies your allegiance to that country for any kind of sporting event or whatever, then you ride for the brand. Kind of like the old cowboy saying, you ride for the brand, you don't demean the brand, you don't talk badly of the owner, in our case, the President of the United States. I am sick and tired of having these spoiled prima donna athletes try to go out there and make fools of themselves, of which they're doing a very good job.
Well, the problem we always have here is always comes down to one thing. The people that listen to it and believe it, you know, we're surrounded by a land of fools.
Randy, I got to interrupt you right there. And speaking of being in a land of fools, I got to look at my clock. I'm almost out of time, but I really want you to know how much I appreciate your opinion on this. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. God bless. Wow, I looked at the clock and I'm almost out of time. And I got to tell everybody about our major sponsor, and they are our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I'm very proud of all of them. I'm very proud of all their locations. I'm very proud of all their service to me, you, and everyone. They absolutely take care of you, your vehicle, for the safest in driving. Whether it's the brand new tires that you need, whether it's your pickup, your car, your SUV, horse trailer, boat trailer, whatever it might be. Whether you need brake service, they have highly trained brake technicians that can do the job, and you will have the best of brakes. Front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and so much more from all 7 locations. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Well, we're going to wrap it up, put it back in the box, and we always say at the end of the program, the way things were, the way things ought to be, and the world needs more cowboys. See you tomorrow morning at 8:06. Zeb at the Ranch. God bless. Have a good day.